For homework of this video, of this section 4.10, I've already typed it out in the previous video description, but I will repeat it here, which you're supposed to do homework page 497, problems 467, 71, 75, 79, 83, 85, 87, 89, 93, 95, 501, 3, 5, 7, 19, and 23. So please go do your homework, and if you're already done, then I want to talk about a couple of them. The first one I want to talk about is the starred problem. Well, I talk about all the ones I starred and put a star on. So the first one is 483, which is, what are we doing? F of x equal the sine squared cosine x. So we are at the homework of page 497, and we're doing homework number 483. All right, now so we have, what are we doing here? What about it? Let's look back a little bit and see what are we supposed to do. Okay, we're supposed to find the antiderivative of each function. All right, so here's our function is f of x. The function is f of x equal to sine squared x cosine x. Okay, now we need to find the antiderivative going backwards. Now, when you stare at it first, it's like, what becomes all that stuff? And well, remember, to find the antiderivative, you cannot break this up into sine and then cosine, make it easier. There is no such thing. Okay, in multiplication, there is to find the antiderivative. We have to find this whole chunk at the same time. So you stare at it and you think, well, what taking its own derivative equals to all of this? That sounds kind of tough. But what happens is then you the way you solve this kind of problem is you stare at it for a while and stare at it a bit longer and think about something like, for example, if you take the derivative of sine, right? Sine of x, if you take the derivative, that becomes cosine x, which is fine, but you know, we got cosine x here, but we got that thing stuck there. So what if then you use your imagination and think, what if we take the derivative of sine squared x? Where does that sorry, the square is in here. Okay, that's the derivative. The derivative is on the outside, the square is on the inside. In fact, the square is over the sine. It means the whole function squared, right? So then what if you take the derivative of that? Well, then by the chain rule, that equals to 2 sine x cosine x. And that looks better, but it's still not exactly right. See, so how do we get that to come out in the derivative? The next step to get that to become a 2, we will take sine cubed x. Now how's that? Now if you do that, that equals to 3 sine squared x cosine x. Okay, now we're somewhere. So, and now it's almost identical, except that there's an extra 3. So what we do is divide by 3. Okay, so divide by 3, then it'll be gone. So the big F, the antiderivative of little f here, we will call it sine cubed x over 3, because if you take the derivative of this, then you'll get back here. Now the way to do it is just you stare and mess with some things and hope that you get the right answer. Seriously, that is how integration works. Sometimes you just have to beat around and look for your answer. All right, so that's problem 483. And next, let's look at problem 519. Okay, problem 519 on the next page. Okay, and which is, what are you... Well, there's a function. Let's write down the function. The function is equal to 1 over x plus 1 squared. Okay, and then what are you trying to do? Again, find the antiderivative. Yeah, okay. Now to find the antiderivative of that thing is at first you look at it and it's like, oh boy, you have 1 over x and there's a bunch of stuff in here, that multiplies out to be x squared plus 2x plus 1, and how would you do that? But if you look at it more carefully after some time, you might remember that the derivative of 1 over x will become something like it, okay? Will become, what is the derivative of 1 over x? That equals to minus, okay, 1 over x squared. But well, this is similar except that there's a plus 1 here. What do we do with the plus 1? Well, let's add the plus 1 there and see how that goes. If you take the derivative of 1 over x plus 1, that becomes 1 over, that's minus 1, okay, x plus 1, and then squared, and then the derivative of x, which is just 1. So now we are getting there. See, this is almost identical to that except for the negative sign. So in order to, so the big F then, we will just simply stick a minus sign in here and then knock that out. See, the 2 negatives become a plus, right? 2 rounds don't become a right, but 2 negatives does become a plus. So if you stick the negative sign in there, then you got out. So you look around until you find something that to make it work, and that's how this is done. So that will be your antiderivative, and that's the end of this section.